Hello and welcome to the Reviews Brothers. I've talked a lot about Doom on this channel, and it's no secret that it's one of my favourite games of all time, but I realised that I've never really talked about the series as a whole, so I thought I'd better fix that. So here, we're going to take a brief look at every mainline Doom game that has been released, that I have. So there'll be no Doom RPG or Mighty Doom. Well, actually I was going to include Mighty Doom, but when I went to play it last night to record footage, it turns out that the servers have been shut down. Hooray for the future of gaming, eh? Also, I am by no means an expert. I'm just a guy who likes to shoot demons. This is just my opinions on the games. If you want facts, this isn't the place. But anyway, enough of that ramble. How about I shut up, you press that subscribe button, and we take a look at some Doom. Of course, we will start with Doom. Released in 1993, this is the iconic game that really shaped a whole ton of video games for the future. You are Doom Guy, an unnamed space marine on a Mars base where scientists were sciencing and they messed things up royally, opening a gateway to hell. The humans in the base get killed or possessed, and on top of that a bunch of other demons come through the portal and start causing trouble. Oh, and they killed your rabbit. So it's up to you, the only marine tough enough not to be killed or possessed, to fight through 4 chapters, starting in the UAC Mars base and making your way through hell, killing all the demons you see along the way with some great firepower. Now, there isn't really much I can say about Doom that I haven't already said. I'm playing it here on the newly released Doom and Doom 2 collection on Steam, and it's just as good now as it has always been. You get dozens of levels, and essentially they're all large mazes with locked doors, items and enemies. You'll need to explore the levels, tracking down coloured keys that open certain doors until you find the exit. But it's rarely that simple. You get a selection of enemies. There's zombie men who will shoot you, imps who will throw fireballs at you or claw your face off if you get too close, pinky demons who take a ton of bullets and they just want to eat you, flying cacodemons that fire plasma balls at you, lost souls which are flaming skulls, and more, until you meet the bosses, the now classic cyber demon, a half robot, half demon monstrosity with a rocket launcher for an arm, and there's the spider demon mastermind, a huge spider robot brain thing with a freaking minigun. The enemies are just as cool now as they were when the game was first released, and I never get tired of seeing them. You will get some awesome weapons to fight them with as well. You get a pistol, though this will soon be obsolete as you find the shotgun, chain gun, rocket launcher, plasma rifle, chainsaw, and of course the BFG. What's amazing is just how balanced all the weapons are. You'll probably find yourself sticking with the shotgun most of the time as it is a great all-rounder, but the other weapons have their place and it won't take long for you to know when to switch between them. A room full of imps and zombies is usually a job for the chain gun. Tougher enemies at a distance need a rocket to the face, and if you go in a room with a few of the tougher bastards, then you'll want to break out the plasma rifle or BFG. Ammo isn't always plentiful though, so you will want to resort to the chainsaw at times to take down some of the weaker enemies without wasting your bullets, something that's not lost on the series to this day. There's also power-ups in levels. You get health, armor and ammo, but also a few super health items that refill you to max, and even one that gives you 200 health and armor. You also get the Berserk power-up, a black health kit. This gives you 100 health and makes your punches more powerful than a rocket blast, letting you punch enemies into a bloody pile of mush. It's great. The 2D sprites still look great thanks to the awesome design of everything, and the levels are excellent as well, with eerie corridors as well as open spaces to explore. Some of the levels can be a pain in the ass the first few times you play them, as you'll need to find hidden walls or switches to open new areas, and you can easily spend an hour or more on a single level, but when you do know where to go, the same levels can often be beaten in less than 5 minutes. And the music here is also great, with some really standout tunes that steal riffs from classic metal songs, and this new version has some really great versions of these tracks to listen to as you play that really gets you in the mood to kill stuff. But look, it's Doom. We all know it's great. It is one of the best games ever made. There are a ton of ports to pretty much everything that uses electricity, as well as literally thousands of mods that add new levels, weapons, enemies, and complete gameplay conversions. It's a game that is still relevant today and isn't going anywhere. So if for some reason you don't own it, now is as good a time as ever, as the new version has mod support and some new chapters. Doom 2 came out just a year later in 1994. You play as the same Doom guy, but this time the demons have managed to make their way to Earth, hence the game's subtitle, Hell on Earth. So once again, you set out over more than 30 levels exploring maze-like stages filled with enemies, items, weapons, until you get to the exit, and you take on the evil Icon of Sin, a being that is the cause of all this trouble. Now, being released only a year later means that it doesn't have a whole lot of changes from the first game. In fact, I do remember even at the time people saying that this is more like an expansion pack than a new full game, which I do kind of agree with to an extent, but I do definitely see it as its own thing. In terms of graphics and gameplay, nothing has really changed. You get these same sprites used for all the enemies and weapons, which is a bit of a shame, but they still look good. There's a few new enemies in here though. There's the Revenant, a tall skeleton that fires homing rockets at you, the Pain Elemental, a flying thing that shoots lost souls from its face, the Chain Gunner, which is a real pain in the ass. It's a tough zombie that has a chain gun, obviously, and you get in a room with a few of those and you better find something to hide behind. Then there's the Baron of Hell, a pink version of the Hell Knights from the first game that do more damage and take more hits. My personal favourite, the Mancubus, a grotesque blob monster that has 2 rocket-firing weapons for arms. And then there's the enemy that most people hate, the Archvile, a powerful demon that can resurrect dead monsters, as well as having a devastating flame attack that will kill you in seconds if you can't get away. All the enemies really do bring a considerable challenge to the game with them, and they can change the way you approach a situation. Interestingly though, you only get one new weapon, the Super Shotgun. It's a double-barreled one this time that does do massive damage up close, even more than the rocket launcher I think, but it's not very good at range and does have a slow reload time. So those are the new additions. The other real difference is that the game is set on Earth, though don't expect anywhere to look familiar. You explore cities and more industrial looking places, but none of it is based on a real life place. It does mean there's a few more outdoor sections though. The levels are large and often more complex than in the first game, and I will say that I actually prefer Doom to Doom 2. I think it's the level design that's better. Here there are some gimmicky levels which are quite fun, and there's actually some really great secret levels based on Wolfenstein. But there are a lot more large, confusing levels here where it's easy to get lost and run around aimless for quite a while. But that's not to say this isn't a good game, far from it. It's bloody brilliant, and one that you still want to play all the way through, and you should. In 1996 we got Final Doom, which is actually 2 map packs for Doom 2 which were then given their own retail release. First there's TNT Evolution. There is a story here that a base has been set up on Jupiter, and yes, portals are involved and demons start pouring out. This is basically just a map pack for Doom 2 with the difficulty cranked up to 11. There's no new weapons or enemies, just 32 levels that are packed with even more enemies and confusing level designs. This is probably my least played Doom game. While it does have the great Doom gameplay, I really can't find myself enjoying most of the maps here. They are overly convoluted, requiring you to do a ton of backtracking or flipping a switch with no idea what it did, only to find a tiny doorway that's opened in a random wall on the other side of the level, and that sort of thing. That's not to say that it isn't fun, because Doom fans will likely enjoy the challenge and exploration here, and to be honest, I do like playing it, it's just not as good as the others. The other issue I have is the difficulty, which is kind of a false one. You do get a lot more enemies in the levels here, but it doesn't take long for you to realise that the game's trick is basically to teleport in a bunch of chain gunners or revenants, some of the hardest enemies to avoid their attacks for. They'll teleport in with no warning and basically shoot you down immediately, and the only way to get through some of the levels is to die repeatedly and just learn where and when they teleport in. It's more memorization than skill. But still, it is old school Doom, so it has an addictive quality to it. It is of course included in the new Doom release, so it's still worth playing through on there. Then there's the Plutonia Experiment, which is another 32 level WOD with large maps. Pretty much everything I said about the TNT game applies here. There's no new weapons or enemies, just large, tough levels packed with enemies and confusing level design. I do really like the look of the levels here though, with a lot more outdoorsy areas and greenery, which makes it stand out from the other Doom games so far. But again, the difficulty is just sort of false, as this will just teleport in a ton of really tough enemies out of nowhere, and you rarely have enough ammo or health to take them all out efficiently. Also, this map pack went overboard with the Archvile, really making things harder. Again, it's still Doom, and people that like a challenge will definitely want to try it out, but for me, this and TNT are just a bit of a chore. Doom 64 is often seen as the black sheep of the series, originally released for the N64, no surprise, in 1997. It has since had a remaster by my favourite remaster geniuses, Night Dive Studios, and I'm playing it here on the PlayStation 4. Story-wise, it's Doom. Evil demons are coming through portals on Mars, so you've got to stop them. You get another 30 or so levels here with all the familiar Doom experiences. You'll need to explore the levels, which range from army bases, science labs, and eventually some really cool looking hell levels as you track down the Mother Demon, a pain in the ass monster that is being a dick. Now, this is the first Doom game that wasn't made by id Software, instead being done by Midway, but they really did a great job. The first thing you'll notice is that the game has had a graphical upgrade, and I've got to say I really love the new designs on everything here. It all looks a lot more serious and dark. All the enemies from the previous games are here, and there's only one new addition, which is actually a bit of a disappointment. It's called a Nightmare Imp. It's basically a regular imp, but a bit tougher, and it can go invisible, and it's purple. I would have liked to have seen more enemies here, but oh well. The redesigns of them all though are great, making them look a lot more evil and deadly. The demons in particular look awesome, and the cacodemons as well. The weapons have also had an upgrade. Again, you basically get the same ones as before: a pistol, shotgun, super shotgun, rocket launcher, plasma rifle, chain gun, chainsaw, and BFG, and they all look excellent and have been slightly tweaked. But you also get the very rare Unmaker weapon, a very powerful one that is hard to find. But when you do, it's really devastating, and you can even upgrade it by finding the secret levels in the game, and there's 4 of them in total, and each one contains a power-up for the Unmaker, which makes it even more devastating and can even kill cyberdemons and the final boss with relative ease, but it will eat through your ammo. The level design here is good and has a solid mix of action, exploring and puzzle solving. Some of the levels did take me quite a while to get through, but that's kind of the point. They are large mazes. The lighting here is really cool too, giving the game a unique look that I like a lot. If you are playing on the N64, which is where I first played it at my friend Daniel's house, and I actually still do own it to this day, it can make things harder because everything is super dark. So dark that you literally can't see what's going on most of the time. That is something that the remaster fixed though, and it worked wonders. This game got decent reviews at the time and has always had a bit of a cult following, but since the remaster a lot more people have grown to appreciate it, which is really good. It's a readily available game on modern systems, and I'd say that it isn't far off the quality of Doom and Doom 2, so definitely one you should check out. We finally got an official Doom 3 in 2004, and boy, I remember seeing screenshots of this and genuinely not believing they were real. I thought there was no way a game could look like this, but it did, and I bought a PC back in the day specifically so I could play it. It was a good decision. You already know the story. You're a Marine on a base in Mars that's been playing around with portals, and yes, they've opened one to hell. It doesn't end well, and everyone starts getting possessed, and demons are pouring into the Mars base. Thankfully, you're literally just too tough to be possessed, so you go about killing everything and putting a stop to all the nonsense. Doom 3 was a real departure from the other Doom games from before. It's more of a linear, story-driven game with a real focus on horror, and I love it. Gameplay-wise, it does actually remain very similar. You're exploring a Mars base full of narrow corridors and pitch-black environments. You need to hunt for keys to open locked doors while taking on all sorts of evil enemies. Eventually, you find the end of a level and you'll move on. But there is a lot more to it here. This is the first Doom game that sees you interact with other humans. Here you'll be able to rescue people you come across, and they'll often help you by opening a locked door or showing you the way to a new item or something like that. Now, you don't have to rescue them, there's always alternate routes, but you'll often get ammo or sometimes a new weapon by helping them out. And actually what's quite funny is that almost always they will still be killed by a monster after helping you, which is pretty funny. They also give you objectives, like telling you how to power on certain things to open up new areas and so on. And you actually have the commander in your ear as well as your radio buddy telling you your current objective. Thankfully, he's only there to give you small updates and doesn't comment on anything that you're doing all of the time. Most of the time you are on your own. There is also quite a lot of story here. You get a cool cutscene every time you meet a new enemy, which I really like. And also to progress the story and the obviously evil scientist and its BFG toting bodyguard. You also get PDAs and data disks that have story on that you can read or listen to. It's often worth checking these out as they also give you codes for locked doors and lockers which often hide useful items. Something the game is famous for is the fact that it's bloody dark, but that is by design. You get a flashlight that you'll be using almost constantly. In the original version, you could either hold a weapon or your flashlight. This upset a lot of people, but I was never really that bothered. In the updated version, like the BFG edition that I'm playing here, this is changed so you can have your light on while holding a weapon, which is nice. And speaking of weapons, you get a good selection. Most are the same as previous games, but with a new look and feel. There's the pistol, shotgun, chain gun, rocket launcher, plasma gun and BFG, oh and the chainsaw of course. Then there's a few new things like the machine gun and grenades. Famously here, the shotgun is pretty crappy, which is almost a crime in a Doom game. The spread of the shot is entirely random, which I guess is realistic, but it means that even up close, enemies that should only take 1 or 2 shots with it might even take 3 or 4. It's very annoying, and I found the machine gun was my go-to weapon rather than the shotgun. All the enemies here have had a new look as well, and I really love the new horror look of everything. The zombies are more like zombies, shambling at you. Imps are terrifying things with loads of eyes that crawl up the walls, ceilings and jump out of everywhere, throwing their trademark fireballs. The Mancubus look awesome with a big fat design, Revenants have a cool skeletal look, and the Browns of Hell and Hell Knights are more visceral, balding, skinless demons that look like they want to kill you and not think twice about ripping your arms off. Also, the Pinky Demons look really cool, like a big shaved dog with robo legs. There's also new enemies like spider things that are basically upside down skulls, there's babies with wings that you need to shoot in the face, and they're all introduced slowly throughout the game. In fact, that's probably one of my criticisms. The game does have a very slow pace, taking a few hours to really get going. It really does start off with a more survival horror feel with less ammo pickups and only a handful of enemies, but by the end of the game it is more action focused, but that's only really the last couple of hours. Still, I absolutely love this game, and I would love it if they did a new one in this style. It still looks amazing with some great lighting and designs on things, and it's another must-have in my books. Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil is an expansion pack for Doom 3, but depending on the version you have, it can be played without needing to own the original. As far as I know, it is available as standard with all current versions of Doom 3 on modern platforms, so it's easy to get hold of. This is set 2 years after the events of Doom 3, and you're part of a squad that is excavating a temple on Mars after you get a distress signal, and you'll never guess what happens. Yeah, demons appear and you need to shoot them in their face. It turns out that the evil scientist from Doom 3 is now a massive winged demon, and he needs to be stopped. This is a fun add-on that can be beaten in 3 or 4 hours. Gameplay wise, it is basically the same as Doom 3 in terms of exploring dark environments and shooting anything you see in the face, but there have been a few gameplay additions. There's a handful of cool new enemies and bosses for you to fight, which is always appreciated, though they are mostly just slightly altered versions of the monsters from the original Doom 3, like more powerful lost souls or imps, but that's alright. They have added in a few new ways to kill people though. You get the Soul Cube, which is actually from Doom 3, something you get late in the game, but here you have it from the start. It lets you slow down time, which comes in handy against most monsters, as well as being essential to solving puzzles in the game. It means you can get through doors by slowing how fast they close, for example, or lets you avoid walls that are coming down to crush things. Also, early in the game you get the Grabber, which isn't someone you find on a Friday night. Instead, it's kind of like Half-Life 2's gravity gun, but nowhere really near as useful. It is still handy though. You can use it to pick up objects around the levels and throw them at enemies, killing them. What's cool is that you can grab projectiles that they attack you with and launch them back as well. So basically, imps and cacodemons are essentially useless in this game because you just fire their attacks back at them. It's really good fun to use when you get used to, and it's handy if you're low on ammo, though it can be hard to see what you're doing while you're holding something, which is a bit annoying. They've also added the super shotgun here, which wasn't in Doom 3. It's very powerful and I found myself using it a fair amount. Overall, this is a good expansion pack. It's got a few hours of gameplay and it's just enough additions to make it worth playing through. I really enjoyed my time with it. We had to wait a whopping 12 years for the next proper Doom game, imaginatively titled Doom, though some people call it Doom 2016. But boy, was it worth the wait. Story-wise, Doom actually makes a point of not being too bogged down by it, but it is definitely there. Essentially, you're on Mars, where scientists are now trying to harness a power source from hell called Argent Energy. This goes the usual way, tits up, so the newly named Doomslayer is called into action after being excavated. Doom 2016 does an incredible job of matching old school gameplay with modern visuals and gameplay styles. Oh, and they upped the gore to a very good amount. You spend the game going between derelict Mars bases and Hell. Your mission on each level is basically to get to the end. You don't really have objectives other than to find ways to open the doors and passages the way you need to get to. But this is always fun and requires a lot of exploring and murder, which is absolutely where the game shines. There are a ton of enemies in this game, most of the ones from the original series return, though not all, and they've all had a great makeover. You get your zombies, imps, revenants, cacodemons, hell knights, barons of hell, mancubus, and so on, and they've got an almost cartoony style to them. This really helps give them personality though, and the animation here is just incredible. They move and look fantastic. It's all super smooth, and a lot of the time they are unpredictable, really keeping you on your toes. It's great to see the new designs and attacks they've given the monsters with a real blend of the designs from Doom 1, 2 and 3. You also get a great arsenal of weapons here. Things are more futuristic, with a laser pistol with unlimited ammo, but it's pretty damn weak. You get the shotgun, which thankfully is back to being useful, and there's an assault rifle that I love, the rocket launcher, chain gun, a devastating Gauss cannon, plasma rifle, and what is probably the best BFG in the whole series. Interestingly, ammo counts seem to be much lower here, which at first almost put me off, but then you realise it's all part of the plan. The game really does a great job of letting you learn which weapons are best against which enemies, and you'll constantly be switching between them all. Also, something else that's new to the game are upgrades. Throughout the game you get add-ons for weapons, like letting the assault rifle fire mini rockets, or the shotgun firing a grenade. There's hidden levels along with challenges in the stages that unlock perks, like letting you get more ammo or performing glory kills from further away. And on that subject, let's mention the glory kills. When an enemy is weakened, they'll start to flash blue. Get close to them and they'll turn red, and you can perform a glory kill. These aren't just for fun though. Doing this actually makes them drop ammo and health, so it becomes a vital part of the gameplay. As well as this, you've got your chainsaw. Killing an enemy with the chainsaw makes them drop a ton of ammo for all your weapons. This looks amazing as well. So basically, if you're low on ammo, you want to fire up the chainsaw and start hacking, but it only has limited use, so use it wisely. The gameplay loop becomes immensely addictive and fun. You'll enter an area and dozens of demons will appear for you to deal with, and the game progresses and you get more perks and weapons, and you become a real killing machine. As many people have said before, this version of Doom is not about you being stuck in a room with monsters, it's about monsters being stuck in a room with you. Couple the battles with some really great level designs that look incredible, especially the hell stages, and there's really not much to complain about. There's collectibles and secrets all over the place, and you'll want to explore every inch of every map. This unlocks more content, including classic Doom levels that you can play through with the new weapons and enemies. It's these little touches that really make it a game you can come back to time and time again. I really can't say enough good stuff about this game. Having gone back to play it again now, I am very rusty, but it's slowly coming back to me, and I think this might be my favourite Doom game. It's an absolute must-own, so if you don't have it, get your copy today. Doom Eternal was released in 2020 and is an amazing follow-up to Doom 2016. Much like the original Doom 2, this one sees the action being brought to Earth as the Argent energy is misused and portals open up all over the place. The Doomslayer now has a base in space, which is fun to say, and is also floating around where he hangs out waiting for demons to appear so he can rip and tear. And I can't believe that's the first time I've said rip and tear in this video. Anyway, demons are here and they're messing everything up. The UAC are up to their old tricks, and 60% of the Earth's population has been wiped out, and the demon presence is corrupting the planet, with entire cities being taken over by horrific fleshy structures. You are an angry bastard though, so you're not going to stand for that. The main thing I love about the story here is that the demons are well aware of the Doomslayer now and are actually scared of him, often trying to get away from him just as much as attack. So yeah, Mr. Slayer jets from his base to Earth, and the game kicks off right in the middle of the action and doesn't let up for its entire 15 or so hour campaign. And the action here is just incredible, with pretty much everything being ramped up to 11. You have a lot of the same weapons returning from the old game, but they've been given a bit of an upgrade. The Super Shotgun, for example, now has an awesome add-on which you can get, which gives it a grappling hook, so you can actually Spider-Man yourself towards an enemy and blast them in the face at close range. It's amazing. Pretty much all of the enemies return here and they look amazing. This actually has a more cartoony style to it, but works really well, and again all the monsters look great with some incredible animation. This is especially noted in the new, even bloodier glory kills, where you see a demon really look terrified as you get up close and rip them to bits with your bare hands. I love it. There's a few new enemies as well. The Archvile makes their 3D debut, spawning in new enemies and generally being a dickhead, just like in the previous games. The Pain Elemental is here and spits out lost souls at you, and there's a new enemy called a Tyrant, which at first I thought was a cyber demon, because they basically are. They're just a bit smaller. They are awesome to fight though, and terrifying the first time you see one. Oh, and you've got to mention the Marauder, a dickhead with a sword and shield who basically teleports in and has a demon dog that he summons and the ability to block basically all of your attacks. They're a pain to kill, but it's all part of the challenge. There's a few new weapons like the crossbow thing that I can't remember the name for. It fires a devastating laser blast and is very fun to use. Once again, you'll want to explore the levels to find all the hidden suit and weapon upgrades to give you new add-ons and more powerful attacks, and things like environmental protection, with upgrades that make you immune to splash damage or fire and things like that. There's also challenges you can find where you can unlock even more perks, like in the first game, giving you speed boosts and things like that. When it comes to combat, you also have a few new things that are essential for your battles. You can dash in any direction, which really helps dodge attacks. You've got a shoulder-mounted grenade launcher that you can fire, which fires explosive or ice rounds. You've got a flamethrower on top of your other shoulder that sets enemies on fire. Doing this makes them drop armor. Your chainsaw is now mapped to a button, so you can use it instantly. Like before, you use this to get a ton of ammo from enemies, and glory kills give you health. So basically you're forced to use a mixture of all of your abilities to keep your health, armor and ammo all topped up. But don't worry, you can also find them in the levels, and you can even find 1-ups. These will instantly revive you if you die and are super handy in large battles. And the battles here are just so damn fun. Almost immediately you're fighting bigger enemies like Arachnotrons, which are another new enemy to the game. It lets you know right away that things are going to get hard. Once again, the level design is great and actually has a large amount of platforming in it. When I first saw this I was a little worried, but it does work well. You can double jump, climb and swing off poles and that sort of thing to get around, and you move nice and fast, so once you get into the rhythm you really are unstoppable. But it's not easy. Enemies do a hell of a lot of damage, and there's even special armoured versions of them that appear from time to make things even harder. This is one of those games that when I was playing it, I often couldn't believe that I was playing an actual game. It really looks like one of those fake trailers that you used to get, but nope, this is real. The whole game is just an action-packed adventure from start to finish. Now, I do think I prefer Doom 2016, but only slightly. And yes, this is absolutely a must-have. And geez, I haven't even mentioned the music, which is just awesome. I know I'm gushing about these games, but honestly, they really are that good. If there's people out there that genuinely don't like them, well, then they're not the kind of people I want to know. I will briefly mention the Old Gods Part 1 and 2. These are add-ons for Doom Eternal that finish off that story. They don't really add anything new in terms of enemies or gameplay. There are new runes that give you passive abilities, but that's about it. But that doesn't matter. There is more than enough. I'm about halfway through the Old Gods Part 1 at the moment, which I bought after replaying these games for this video. I needed more Doom. It's set after you beat the final boss of Doom Eternal, but there's some tidying up to do, and it appears that you've pissed off some old gods with all your killing, so you better go kill them as well. Now each chapter should take about 5 or so hours to beat, but man, so far it's taken me about that to get halfway through. It is damn tough. The enemy count here has really been upped quite substantially, and the battles are absolutely epic. You really need all of your skills here if you want to survive, and getting into that gameplay loop of moving and using every item in your arsenal is essential. As it's Doom Eternal, it looks phenomenal, and I really like the locations here, which take you around factories, space bases, ancient ruins, and even a sea-based oil rig. It's great, and while I haven't got to part 2 yet, I hear that it's even tougher and does include a new weapon, so I look forward to that. Now, I know I've missed a whole lot out about Doom Eternal and these add-ons, as there is a ton you could say about it, but really all you need to know is that it's an absolute must-have game, and half the fun is finding out for yourself anyway. And we will end with a very brief look at Doom Legacy of Rust. This is a brand new chapter for the original Doom games that were released in 2024 as part of Doom and Doom 2 collection that was also released earlier this year, and it is an official part of the Doom timeline. You get 30 or so levels split over 2 chapters. The levels are huge and a real nod to the original games. The maps are exactly what you'd expect, having similar layouts and maze-like puzzles as the other games in this series. You'll be hunting keys and killing enemies. And speaking of killing enemies, there are 6 new ones here. I've only seen 3 so far though, 2 of which were basically reskins of Lost Souls, which is a bit of a shame, but they are tough. One of them spits plasma bullets at you, and the other one is just a red face in a cloud that basically kills you instantly if it touches you. The other one I saw was a large demon that looked like it was based on a Baron of Hell. They spawn in large numbers and are fun to fight. You even get 2 new weapons, the Incinerator, a flamethrower, and the Calamity Blade, which I haven't found yet. I'm only 3 or 4 levels in so far, but I am having a good time with the new levels, which are huge but have some really great stuff in them, like actually having to go through a portal to Hell and switching between normal world and Hell world. Of course, if you buy the new collection, you'll get this included, along with all of the other official expansions like Sigil, Doom 2 Master Levels, and No Rest for the Living. Basically, there's a hell of a lot of Doom out there for you, and that's before you start dabbling in mods. So there you go, a brief look at most of the games in what is one of my favourite video game series of all time. I know I barely scratched the surface on what's on offer and the details of these games, but really everyone should be playing them anyway to experience them for themselves. What is your favourite Doom game? Let me know in the comments below. And yep, I am going to have to buy a new console so I can play Doom the Dark Ages when that's released. On screen now you can see where you can follow me, so why not do so? I've got loads of great content for everyone to enjoy. And now, all that's left for me to say is thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.